What's going on? Tiffany, where you was going? Like you was going somewhere.
Trying to get comfortable.
It's your guy Troublematic, and I'm back with another live. And we have, of course, my co-host, the wonderful Tiffany, Sports and Heels.
Hey guys.
And we have a special guest. He goes by the name of Brown Liquor Baron, but his mama call him Jermaine. Yes. I appreciate you, brother, coming on the last minute in the clutch, man. Like a true Boston Red Sox, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So this live is actually centered around remote work. Also, we're going to talk about, is remote work still will it still be here after the pandemic? Actually, a friend of mine, her name is D, and she has a great YouTube channel, and she's out of Cali, Colombia. She saw the post and she says, remote always been here. And I was like, remote work, yes, remote work has always been here, but since the pandemic, it's been a little bit, blown out of proportion, whereas everybody's working remote. So, a lot of these companies are going to want most of their employees to come back into the workforce. So I don't want to go back. I want to travel. I want to work on my YouTube. Tiffany, she wants to work on various things, and I know Brown Liquor Baron, he wants to work on a few things too. So let's go with Tiffany and let her, introduce herself to the panel and to the people of the world.
Hey everybody, I'm Tiffany, aka Sports and Heels, and I am the remote worker. Been a remote worker since 2015, so kind of the hybrid mode in 2015, went fully remote 2017. Don't have plans to go back to being hybrid or in the office. I love remote work. I like how it balances my the first time in my life I feel like in my career I have work-life balance, and the traditional work-life balance is blown out the window. They promote that, and remote work really allows me to focus on some of my personal passions, some of the things I'm just maybe talented at, some things I'm just interested in trying out, but all in an effort to make what I think is a better version of me, better version of Tiffany that makes me a better person in society, a better coworker, a better resource, a better individual. So I'm all about pursuing passion and doing things that you love, and being able to support yourself. So I, like Adrian, want to be able to travel. My passion is track and field. So whenever I get as an official, I get to go to several meets around the country and hopefully expand that to international travel and do some of these meets like the Olympics or the World Championships. So that's one of the things I'd like to stay remote so that I can pursue.
All right. Appreciate that, Tiffany. How about yourself, Jermaine?
Hey guys, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I've been remote since the pandemic hit 2020. I believe it was March 2020 that we got sent home for remote work. My boss lobbied for us to be remote, and we're in this kind of gray area where it's going to be granted, and our particular team can stay remote. I know we got some guys in our team as far as production, guys that are actually building the parts. I work for a photonics and optical medical devices, medical and industrial device company. And we need the people on the floor that are building these pieces. They have to be in the office, but us that have no contact with the product and we're doing, administrative or inside sales work. That's basically what my role is, inside sales / sales support. I feel that there's no need for us to be in the office. And I hope, and from everything that I've been hearing from a lot of people that work in the office, I hear the trend is moving more towards let the people stay at home and work, because in the end, companies always worry about the bottom line, and the bottom line actually shrinks a little bit. It looks a little bit better when you don't have to have these big giant offices with all these people taking up space and using utilities that are not necessary. I remember I've been in this field for about, I want to say between 15 and 18 years. And I remember the the first job I had in sales support where they gave me a laptop, and I said, okay, we can work from home now. And my boss was quick to tell me, no, this is just for snow emergencies or something like that. We've always had that capability to be able to work from home, log into your VPN, log into your system. And I think now with this pandemic, companies are starting to see, hey, we can save some money by sending these folks home.
Yeah. You you made me think about something funny, man, with that snow thing. It was the same thing. I was at I think I was at Equifax, and to get a laptop, man, that was like, but this was like 2015. This is like 2015. You know, to get a laptop, man, you had to be like a manager or something, man. And I think it was a hard freeze here, and it was like, just in case of snow emergency, you're gonna start issuing out laptops. And it was like, oh yeah, you get a laptop, we definitely gonna be working from home. I remember that like vividly when you said that. That's funny.
You know, the crazy thing is when they started, I was in that same situation where we had the old towers at our desk.
Mm-hmm.
Then for them to issue those laptops during the snow emergencies, they would have to image those machines, which would take sometimes hours or days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of companies just say, hey, we're gonna do the dock setup where your laptop is, that extends out to your multiple screens if you use multiples, and that's your workstation.
Mm-hmm.
Then I know people were looking at, I was looking at it back then like, hey, we can do this here. We can do this at home too.
Right.
Yeah, in 2015, when I started that kind of the hybrid model, first of all, I was very blessed to work for a consulting company in the information technology sphere. And because of that, and being in consulting, they're used to people traveling for business, for work, right? So they're gone typically Monday through Thursday, and then they may come in the office on Friday, but they may work remote Friday instead of coming into the office. And so we always had the dock system with the additional monitor. So you just came in, when you did come in the office, you just hooked your laptop to a dock and then was connected to the network that way. But because we had so many people traveling at various points throughout project work, remote work wasn't a concept that no one was not familiar with. Because sometimes you would go on site and you weren't actually, depending on what access you had to their facility, you weren't actually on site, but in a separate building where you then remote worked in. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I mean, you're in the Boston area, and Adrian in the Atlanta area. So when we had those snowstorms here, I'm in Ohio. When we had snowstorms, it wasn't unusual for us to automatically assume that we could work from home. I think. And that was okay for a lot of these organizations. I think where we saw the switch in 2020 was a lot of the pushback to full-time remote began to ease up because of COVID. But I believe that a lot of companies were still allowing some flexibility for remote work on particular days, or if you had a day where you just couldn't be in the office, but still wanted to work. But now they're more like, okay, this full-time remote thing, let's consider how we can use that as a business model for our employees going forward.
Right. And I think that's right. It depends on the area that you're in. Because like when I speak about Equifax, I was in a support role. So those people like that now, those are the ones they definitely want to come back. Like you got to come back to this cubicle. you know? And so we're doing project work. Jermaine, what I do is I work in IT projects. Right now I'm in a healthcare project, so I do contract work. So I don't work full time, but just based on the contract, 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, maybe. It all depends on the project. And so I can work remote anywhere in the U.S., but this is a federal contract that I'm on too as well. So I have to give that caveat. So I cannot work outside of the continental U.S. or provinces, which I don't hate on that part. But yourself, you say you're in a support role or
right, support role. So we do. It's basically every function that an inside sales rep does, but we don't get paid inside sales money. That's what the difference is.
Okay.
We're
Okay, gotcha.
customers. Yeah, we're quoting customers. We're working with the customer on deals, on product information and things like that. We're putting in orders. We're doing logistical. We do everything that the outside sales rep doesn't want to do, and the inside sales rep basically don't want to do as well. So
yeah,
just less money.
Gotcha.
That's the caveat. But it's interesting that you said that about the government work and working outside the country, because me and you had this conversation. All the obstacles that I face working outside the country. I don't know when exactly things change for the Dominican Republic, but anytime I travel to the Dominican Republic and log into our company VPN, there was never an issue. What I faced right when the pandemic hit around, I would say July, because we did a big trip in July. There was a lot of YouTubers out there. What I faced was I couldn't log into the VPN. It was reporting back to IT that I was outside the country, which I didn't want them to do. So the workaround, I don't know. No one told me this. I just thought about it. I said, well, Microsoft is working independently of our VPN. The only problem with our VPN is that I can't get into like Oracle or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to use our VPN for Oracle to look up customer information, and then the Microsoft stuff wouldn't work at all. So what I did is I bought a VPN, and it took me, I promise you this, it took me about a good week and a half to play with the settings of the VPN so that it wouldn't totally block the our company VPN.
Mm-hmm.
So it would let certain things, you know what I'm saying, go through. Because some VPN, when you have two VPNs, has a tendency to shut everything down. You can't move. It'll lock the internet. You can't do much. So working with it, I did something. I don't know exactly what. I can't tell you guys what I did. I was pressing buttons, and finally it worked. So for me to log on and send emails and get into my Outlook, my folders, anything having to do with Microsoft, I have to log on to this external VPN. I use Express, or sometimes I use Lord. I think it's Nord. So I had to log into that to be able to work. And when the internet goes off, here's the hurdle. When the internet goes off, the company VPN goes off, the internet goes off, company VPN goes off, and then my VPN that I'm paying for goes off. Locks the internet, so you have to go through. It took me about 45 minutes when the internet comes back in DR. As we know, the power always goes.
Yeah.
To get back to work. So I'm doing that at the same time while trying to hide the fact that I'm in the Dominican Republic from my boss, but we made it work. Colombia was a little bit of an issue, but something happened with the rules and regulations of our IT, and they laxed a little bit of their policies as far as external work. I guess some of the sales guys that traveled to different countries started to complain this wasn't working. So they had a little change. Now it's a little different.
Wow.
So can you explain for my followers what is a VPN?
Whoa.
What does it stand for?
The actual term of a VPN. So that's a good question. Help me.
It's called a virtual private network.
Okay.
That's what the VPN stands for, virtual private network. And
essentially you can log in. Essentially, your VPN places you. So it's a network where you can log into the network and not actually be in the area of the network, right? They're all cloud now, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of it's cloud based.
So there's no centralized server that you have to log into or anything like that which is cool because most of the time I was logging in. I was logging into like Spain or something like that to see. We have an office in Spain, so.
Doesn't VPN also give you like it encrypts your internet?
Right. That's another part of it as well too. That's kind of like the deeper down into it. It encrypts it so that you cannot see the true location where that person is.
It secures it where you it secures your.
Right. You remember we talked about the how we talked about the APIs. You know, you know, it's still like a long cable wire from a long virtual cable wire from US to DR. And along that cable line, sometimes it's not encrypted when you're in your home or whatever. It's not encrypted. Sometimes it's not. It's not. Sometimes it is. But when you encrypt it, you can encrypt it with what you desire, your desired location you want to be at. If you want to be back in Texas or you want to be back in Boston, you can put Boston, and so it'll make a fake location for Boston. But the one thing that I was going to ask you about, I think you said that it was saying that you were in Boston. I mean, you was in Dominican Republic, because with those outages, because I've been reading up on this like really heavy, because I'm trying to make a run for
it. Me too.
But I said, man, I don't know, but I said they're gonna give me the federal. You know, if I come up on the radar, that's my ass. Sorry. But a friend of ours, Jay Clyde, told me about a VPN router. The VPN router is an actual device, like a router in your house. Mm-hmm. Now, because see, this is the problem that I was thinking. I'm trying to think in my head, like, it doesn't make sense because your actual computer has a VPN, like how you were saying you're trying to log into Oracle and Microsoft. If you're not on that VPN on that actual installed computer, you can't access certain programs or your Outlook. You probably can just surf the internet or what?
Yeah, it depends on the parameters that are set by the IT team, right? So whatever on that VPN, whatever they allow and how they configure it, they have total control over it. With the one I purchased, I was able to change certain settings to allow, you know how in a VPN you can allow it to be really stringent or strong as far as access, and then it could be a little weaker to allow certain things. Tunneling as well, which I use the same VPN that I use on my Fire Stick when I'm watching Netflix. I carry my Fire Stick with me, and Netflix will not work if your VPN is on. You have to create a tunnel for it so it can work. So so essentially what it means is Netflix is not going through the VPN. It's working outside of the VPN normally, right? And everything else on the Fire Stick, particularly, comes through the Fire Stick. From what I learned, from what I was told about tunnel. So it's not, essentially Netflix is not using the VPN. If you add it to I gotta look at the settings on it. But when I was using Express, it said you can select these applications on your Fire Stick for tunneling, which essentially won't use the VPN. It will be outside of the VPN, because whenever I run the VPN, I have problems with Netflix. But so that I think was the same issue with work. Some applications on the computer on my desktop worked, some didn't, and I had to play with the settings. And again, I can't tell you what I pressed or what it means of what I pressed, but it's working for now.
Did you test it out of you were in Dominican Republic when you were trying to figure this out, right?
Yeah, it was definitely by accident, because I was going crazy trying to figure out why my system's not working. I tried to do everything possible so that I wouldn't have to call IT and say, hey, yeah, I'm out here.
No, you don't want to do that call, boy.
No.
You don't want to do that call, man. That's the call of death, boy. You like, man.
You might as well hand in your resignation when you make that call.
Yeah, buddy.
In the laptop too, because I'm in the Dominican Republic right now.
That's like a little boy calling his mom about to tell he in trouble at school. Like, go and call your mama. No,
that's what it was. Luckily, I got a Nigerian brother. We got a Nigerian brother, head of IT. Shout out to him. So he came on the chat on Teams, and he started talking to me. He goes, I don't know if this is right. It looks like you're in Dominican Republic. I go, yeah, it's been going crazy all day. And he said, all right, I'm gonna fix this for you. I'll let it go. And he worked it out. I'm like, oh man.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That was a blessing. Because I can promise you, I don't have anybody from Nigeria or any other African diaspora country working in my IT department where I'm contracting at right now. I can guarantee you that.
Man, they always around. I got a few few of my developers are 2 of them are from Africa, I believe. I know a good 2 of them. Yeah, so tell Tiffany how many times you've been to the Dominican Republic.
But I've been there, by the way. So a lot. So I want to see how many times you've been there.
91 times.
Oh my God. 21, I thought maybe 10, 15, 91 times.
Since 2017.
Wait, let me do my math. I'm not a math person, so let me get my
crazy, ain't it? And do you ever are you dual citizen?
No, with all them trips, I should be, shouldn't I?
That's like 23 times a year.
I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
My first time there was in 2004, so we could take away that one, and put down 90. Back and forth, trip after trip. I would do weekend trips. Excuse me. I would do weekend trips. So I would do weekend trips, and I would do a month or a week. I would just keep going back and back and back. It would be like tickets were so cheap, we just fly out.
Yeah. So with you being because see, this is the other thing about just the access, being able to access things remotely. It's the taxes I've heard too. You know, if you can, let's say if you were to actually get dual citizenship, because yeah, that's the caveat too. You only have 90 days. Mexico has like 6 months you can stay on a tourist visa, because you're doing a tourist visa every time, right?
Yeah, every time. It's I think it's stamped. If I'm mistaken, I have to check my passport. It's stamped into your entrance stamp. So it'll give you the date of how many days you get to stay, the date that you arrive, and 90 days after that, that's your visa.
Right.
I know
so
people
you don't have to do any extra step.
No. Specifically in Colombia, you'll see it. It'll say visa for 90 days. Because I know a lot of people that haven't traveled were freaking out. I need to get a visa. No, it's just your entrance stamp. That's your visa. That's them permitting you into their country for an allotted amount of time.
What is that called? Visa on arrival, I think. Is that visa on arrival? I think
that's funny. I think that's something like that, because I heard that about Cuba. Cuba does that. They make sure they tell you this is a visa for the moment.
Yeah.
Is there a process? So yeah, visa on arrival. There is no process for you to fill out any work or any paperwork or anything like that. You get into the country, and I think some of the fees is rolled into. If I'm mistaken, I think the Dominican used to have this $10 visa charge or something like that, and they rolled it into your ticket.
They did.
Remember, they used to make you pay that $10 when you got off the plane. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I didn't bring no cash with me.
Right. Yeah, because that's what I was thinking of, the taxes part. But the taxes, like, I know if you can be omitted from taxes if you stay out of the country. You can't be over 60 days, I think, in the US. If you're
consecutive days.
Yes,
it's consecutive days.
So but I still heard certain things too about you can pay taxes in both countries. Like you may be liable to pay taxes in both countries, but I haven't had a chance to do that research.
I got somebody we can ask for that.
Maybe. Yeah, I thought it was only if you own property.
Okay, it could be that too.
So how long do you typically stay, Jermaine, when you
oh man.
Obviously under the 60 days, or you would have been hit with some kind of tax liabilities or some kind of.
Yeah, I've been hit a whole bunch of times with the overstay fee. So, there's after 90 days, there's an overstay. I'm sorry. I think the Dominican Republic is after 30 days.
Oh, wow.
There's a birthday fee after 30 days, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get that information from y'all. But I've stayed, the most I've stayed 5 months. 5 months, left for a week, and then came right back, stayed another 3 months. It was just going back and forth, trying to avoid the cold, and I had time and I could work outside the country, so I was back and forth. And I paid a lot of money to the Dominican Republic to leave. I paid a lot of money.
Cool. That's all good information. I know you've had this question probably posed to you a lot, especially in these travel groups. Everybody wants to travel abroad and work, get that U.S. money coming to abroad, where they at abroad. What would you tell someone if they asked you, how do I get a job working remote? I'm curious.
Well, I think I hear a lot of people talking, and a lot of people do ask me that question. And you got to be realistic. You have to have a set of skills, or you got to be involved in a company that has that type of setting. So first I would do my research and find there's websites like Indeed and things like that for specific remote work. But working remote, a lot of these companies need to be able to trust you to do that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are not going to just hire, hey, you want to work remote? Okay, that's for you and you. They're not going to do that. You need to have some evidence that you have experience working remote, because even though it's a lot for us seasoned remote workers, it's easy for us to do this remote work. But for somebody that just want to mess around, I'll go to the salon at lunch and take a 2-hour lunch. It might not be for you. It's a level of responsibility you have to have. You have to show that you're in office when you're not, and you need to be available. Of course, we have the ability to do other things and take care of things pertinent to our home because we're at home, but we need to make sure that our job is number one. I like to party. I like to go out. There's been days where I didn't sleep, but I logged in every day at 7 o'clock and did my job. And you gotta have that mindset. Okay, this is a benefit for me. I'm able to travel. I'm able to bring my U.S. money to another country and live good. Let's make sure that this is never infringed upon. Let's make sure that this work right here is the most important thing, because that's your income. And if you lose that, then you'll be back in the States where you try to get away from.
Or getting pesos.
Yeah, so if you've never worked a remote job and you're looking to travel international, I would say get a remote job where you can travel United States first and do that for 6 months to a year. Practice, getting your discipline up, practice being available, practice building up your, I call it your remote legs, where you understand how to balance what your job load is and your workload is, and then what you can actually do outside of that at home, and then maybe in your neighborhood. Maybe it's going to lunch with a friend and not going at lunchtime, but going at a different time, and trying to figure out what you are capable of doing and what you're capable personally of being able to handle. Because I will personally go to the hairdresser, the beauty salon, while I'm remote working, and bring my laptop and be available while I'm not physically, typing 150 emails or anything like that. But I still know what I'm capable of doing while I'm at a salon, but you might not have that same capability, or your salon may not have Wi-Fi. So you really need to focus on getting a remote position that fits your lifestyle, your current lifestyle now, and with elements of what you would like it to be. And then start looking for opportunities after about 6 months to a year that will allow you to do the international thing, because there's a lot, like we just talked about. You talked about you going international and then your VPN issues. You've got to be able to understand how to fix those issues when you're in the States first, before you take that remote, because you could go to remote and do that internationally and then lose your job. So now you've completely fallen back from what you were trying to accomplish in the first place. So that's what I would recommend.
You do. Yeah. as far as fixing things when you're abroad, you got to realize that there's an app called Log Me In that's on my station, right? So that app particularly gives access. We can share access to IT to log into my computer and actually do work, right? It doesn't work abroad. So then they're questioning me, asking me, hey, I don't know why it's not working. It should work on your computer.
Wow.
So protocol is they'll start to look at the IP address and the location of the IP address, and
wow.
There's a problem.
I didn't think about that.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that you guys have to take into account when you want to work in abroad. It is a lot of if you are seasoned for it, like what was the term? Work balance. The term you use, Tiffany, legs.
I call it remote legs.
Yeah, you gotta grow some remote legs, because if you don't, it's all for nothing. You got to be willing to put in the work and the time, because this is what you wanted.
Yep.
So maintain it, and don't if you can step out for lunch, it's easy. Send a message to your boss and say, hey, it's going to be an extra 45 minutes. I got to go do something. Be more responsive, more accountable, be more available. Even if you're telling your boss, like, I need 30 more minutes, you're available because you're telling her your availability. I'm not here for these 30 minutes, but I'll be available after that 30 minutes, and make sure you're back on time. Black folks, get back on time from lunch.
Absolutely. And the thing that's the most important thing is when you're scouting out potential opportunities, and I've learned this in the last 2 years, not just previously, but in the last 2 years, I've learned to start asking questions that give you the answers without asking directly. So what does it mean when you say work-life balance? When they say, oh, this is remote, you work from home, we understand that you have things going on and other passions. When they say other passions, that's my window to write that question down for later. And let's talk about what you mean by other passions. How does your organization, support work-life balance so that you can do other passions? And that's a question that's come out of since COVID. Because I had someone, interviewed recently for an additional opportunity, and they promoted so much that they wanted people to focus on things outside of work. They kept saying things like, we know that you have a life outside of here. We don't want you to be here working late. We don't want you to be here on the weekends. We want you to feel like you can travel anywhere and go anywhere. So those are things that they were saying that prompted me to ask more deep dive questions like, okay, so what do you mean? Are you talking about international or just United States? Getting those questions answered without directly asking those questions to kind of feel like, how's it going to fit into your current lifestyle, and that the lifestyle you're trying to get. Again, when you're going remote, you're not looking for the perfect opportunity. You're looking to especially for the first time, you're looking to establish, like he said, trust. You're establishing your cadence. You're establishing your discipline. You're establishing what you want to, because you can't just do this like, oh, I just want to travel. Like, what does that mean? You want to travel? Because there's a lot you got to think about. Are you going to stay in an Airbnb? Is the country you're going to go to even going to have Wi-Fi? Do they have power outages? Like you mentioned, the Dominican Republic. I know Cuba has a ton of power outages.
And internet problems over there.
And internet problems. You might be in a park working, for a few hours if you can get internet for that long. So there's a lot you need to figure out. So finding and asking those opportunities when you're interviewing is what's going to help you decide about the opportunities you're kind of pursuing. We can give you a list of places to work, but you've got to find the one that fits your current lifestyle and the one that you would like to achieve in the future.
Right. I would say for you guys also to be careful, because I have a few friends that live in Florida. They're like, hey, I'm applying for this remote work job so I could travel like you. And then the job doesn't allow you to work outside of Florida, let alone outside the United States. So you gotta be careful, of what you're looking for. And just do a lot of your homework. Yeah. Do a lot of your homework. Figure out, the company, because there are some companies that, they start like my particular company, they'll do this. Oh, you remote workers. So here's what we're going to do. You got to take 4 or 5 days, no pay, because we have to, with the COVID going on, we have to, figure out some things for the money. And that's cool. But then you're abroad and you're expecting that next check to come through. and it's a little light because you had to take that off. So it's a lot of nuances to working remote. If you can land a position, or if you can figure out a way to migrate your position to working from home, it's a simple conversation with your boss. Look, they don't want to give me no more raises. Okay, you don't want to give me no raise. How about I can do my job at home?
Yeah,
yeah.
The other piece of advice that I would add is look for global companies that already have offices in other countries, and ask about opportunities to visit those other offices, to work with other colleagues in those offices. Even just ask to be able to travel to the city that the other office is in and work in that office. That opens up the door for you to have conversations about international travel. I mean, I know that's one of the things that I did early on. And it's something that was recommended to me to look at global companies where your teams, and I don't mean just companies outside the United States. I mean companies that might have global teams. So you might have people, from working from China or India or Japan or, the UK or wherever, even in South America lately, a lot of industries have been popping up. So do your research, look for those global companies that are outside the US or have offices outside the US, because it might be a great opportunity for you to remote work and know that you can travel internationally, since they're going to have colleagues that are traveling internationally. So
yes, my guy Tay International made a comment here and over here. It says, can you live in Tijuana, Mexico, then just cross to San Diego and work from a Starbucks? I'm gonna answer that one because I actually did that in September. Because a lot of people in San Diego actually live in Tijuana.
really?
Yeah, it's a place. Actually, I was my good friend from college just moved. Well, he's moving next month to San Diego. And I was telling him about Tijuana, but he is if you've never been to Tijuana, you still have that stigma in the back of your head, like, oh, it's dangerous. And it is dangerous. Like anywhere else in America is dangerous. But I was able to show him some nice modern apartments for 1,000, 1,100. Because Tijuana is so close to the US, it's still going to be a slightly little higher. But when you talk about comparing it to San Diego,
yes, it's 1/3 of San Diego's rent, probably.
30 minutes out from downtown San Diego, he found a place for 2,800. And I said,
how much?
2,800. But I mean, it was in the suburbs. Still not bad, but it's still 2,800, almost $3,000 a month. So I showed him this place, and he's like, I'm thinking about it. So I want to actually take him out there just to kind of, just relax, just calm. It's, because there's a place called Chototepec. It's a neighborhood. They have a golf course. It's gated. All the people from San Diego live in this one area. So I was just trying to convince him to let him know, because I met a guy when I was on a flight to Cartagena. This dude told me, he was like, I'm from San Diego. He said, but I live in Tijuana. What he do is he park his car at the border. I guess he catch a taxi to his house in Tijuana, back and forth. Then he gets to his car at the border and he drives to like Riverside, which is probably like an hour away from San Diego, or maybe like 30 minutes to an hour. And he does that every day. He said he's paying like $500 a month for his 1-bedroom place, everything included. He said he didn't show me the pictures, but he said it was a nice little place. So I took his word for it. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Because I'm working a federal contract, I wanted to do that. I went down there Thursday before Labor Day weekend. Went to Ensenada, Tijuana, came back on that Monday, the holiday, worked there Tuesday and Wednesday from San Diego, flew back to Atlanta, and just did it like that. But yeah, you definitely can do it that way. A lot of people are doing it that way, saving because you can make money in San Diego to compensate for the high rent and stuff there, but you spending it back out just as much as you make it. So imagine if you living in Tijuana, you making over six figures, and you paying $500 rent. You know what I'm saying?
That's called a W.
Yeah. Well, imagine if you stacking and doing that.
Oh yeah, big money. So more about Jermaine here. He has a channel, and I wanted to put his link in. Oh, actually, I wanted to put his link here. So you definitely can subscribe to his channel. Tell us what your channel is about, brother.
My channel is about travel, information. It's a little raw, but we just honest with it. Honest with myself as well as others. Say that again, brother.
Is brown liquor involved, or is that just the name?
Brown liquor is involved. So my nights are I try to do 2 nights a week, Thursday and Saturday. So Thursday's theme is Thirsty Thursdays. You're not quite yet to the weekend, but you're almost there. And working in technology or anything in technology, you a little stressed. You need a little something to get you to Friday. So Thirsty Thursdays for you guys to come and wine and talk about travel and any questions you have about places that we've been or places. There's a lot of brothers and sisters that have questions about places that are going to take that step. They got their passport. Now they're going to take that step and travel. Well, we've been there. So we might as well share that information with you guys. There are some YouTubers that charge for these services and stuff like that. And I don't think information should be free. Yeah. So on my channel, I just share this information. Hey, where do you want to go? What are you looking at doing? What's your budget? If I have connections with Airbnbs, and we all know sometimes these Airbnbs, once they see you a couple of times, your business is outside the app. Sorry, Airbnb. So I could have a connection. Hey, they're selling, it's $70 a night on Airbnb, but let me talk to her and she can get it to you for $30 a night, and you lock in. It's that information that we should be passing along to the travel community, where some people keep that tribal knowledge, and it shouldn't be, because it's just about people having a good time. I had a great time. I went through some things while I was over there. Let me tell you guys how to avoid that and maximize I always say maximize your vacation time.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so do you have a certain I see on your channel, I see that you visit a lot of Afro-Colombian, Dominican spots. Why do you choose that besides your brother yourself? But why you want to expound on that in the travel industry?
It's important. It's really important because people look, Colombia, most of Colombia is Black. Most of the country, the population is Black people. Dominicans are Black, whether they want to admit it or not. They Black. So you see a lot of Black Americans starting to travel. Where remember, we didn't travel as much.
Right.
Like if the statistics are still low for us having passports right now.
Yeah.
So we're traveling. Okay, let's travel to some places and learn something about our culture. Let's stop patronizing these people that don't like us when we travel. Just tolerate us because of our money. Let's learn some cultures. The brother Ace Live did something in Mexico where I didn't even know that there were Black Mexicans. He brought that information to us.
Yeah, the Underground Railroad actually had a part of it let out in Mexico.
Really?
Yes. It's a lot that a lot of people don't know about Mexico's involvement in trying to abolish slavery globally and in the US. Like, there's a lot that Black and Brown have been taught about each other that's not indicative of the actual truth of the history between Black and Brown, between the US and Mexico. And when you think about that, them trying to abolish slavery and being a safe haven for those who escape, it makes us wonder why they really hate Mexico. Is it really because of the Mexicans, or is it really because of their involvement in, trying to stop their number one industry for, for capital?
This is
saying.
the reason why I like to go to these and learn these things.
Mm-hmm.
A brother sent me a clip about Haiti the other day. And I think this is a famous clip where they said Haiti ended up having to pay for their freedom.
Yes.
Like a whole bunch of years of money back to France. Well, things like this where we have an outlet, we have YouTube, we can create a voice where France is embarrassed and say, okay, let's start giving some of this money back. Look at how ravaged Haiti is economically. Let's start giving some of this money back.
And it's literally right. I mean, Dominican Republic and Haiti are literally the same island with, it's, and the differences are, I used to date someone from Haiti that was born in Haiti. So Dominican Republic and Haiti, that whole situation, I feel you on visiting those countries and learning about those people there and how connected they are to us.
Yeah. And it'd be good when we travel. We like to see that Colombia. It feels to me that in Colombia, there's a forgotten race of the Afro-Colombians. Like when we thought about Colombians, we always thought about Pablo and the light-skinned Colombians. Here in Boston, all the there is no, I'm going to go on a limb and say, there is no dark-skinned Colombian in all of Boston. Zero. They're all light as hell. And I get to Colombia thinking, okay, this is okay. And I see all these. Tell you a quick story. The first time I was in downtown Medellin, this is a true story on my father's grave. I'm in downtown Medellin in El Centro. And I'm crossing the street. I'm trying to get to where I'm trying to get to. I see some black folks. I start talking to them. And they turn around. I'm talking to them in English. They turn around, look at me and go, I said, oh, y'all are Spanish. Okay, y'all speak. Okay, I get it. Okay, my bad. I didn't know they existed. And it's cool that a lot of people are traveling these countries showing that we are in places, even though we are there. And the culture is so rich and so close to Africa, it's not even funny.
Yeah, I felt the same way about Cuba when I went to Cuba. Well, I used to live in Miami, so let me be clear. And being a person that watches international sports that are not as popular here in the U.S., that have international exposure in other countries, and track and field being one of them, you see a lot. I see a lot of that. So I see a lot of African diaspora all over the world. So it wasn't a surprise to me, but it is a surprise culture shock when you kind of get there and you're like, look at all these black people, like, and they have so much history and culture, and they're so eager to share it with us, and they don't want anything. They just want to share what they know. I mean, they know their family histories. They know everything. Their dining is different. Their cultures, their religions, everything is so different. And so we have that tainted view, that American, capitalistic view of these African diaspora countries, because South America, the Caribbean, they're all African diaspora countries. They're not known for being European countries. So in our minds, we shouldn't be shocked, but it is a shock when we go there and you're in downtown Havana and you see all of these beautiful brown and chocolate, different hues of, black peoples in these countries, and they're speaking hardly any English, but they're just as loving and just as, just what we experience with amongst our own families, they're willing to extend that to us. So it is so important. I tell black people all the time, like, you can go to other places besides the Bahamas. Like, Bahamas is wonderful, it's beautiful, but, go a little bit further south and, head to Panama, in other countries and look and see so much richness that we have in the black community outside of the United States.
Yeah. Yes. A lot of people travel outside because they want to go to these beautiful beaches. Here's a news flash. You can't miss for beaches anywhere in the Caribbean. You can't miss. If you get to Cartagena, you went too far because the beaches are terrible in Cartagena. But if you go anywhere in the Caribbean, the beaches are blue like the brochures. Just get a little bit more out of your vacation. Learn a little bit something more. Learn, we're talking about places where the original slaves came.
Right.
Right.
And follow your Black travel people on YouTube. You got to follow them. These people spend their money, their time going to these different places and producing these videos to give you information so that you feel more comfortable to then pass that knowledge along to someone else, someone you may know. When you post your pictures on social media, people are going to ask, where are you at? What I love about the Black travel community is they're not boxing themselves in the Jamaicas only and the Bahamas only. They're expanding what Black people know about these other countries. Like I mentioned, Panama. I never would have thought of visiting Panama, but it was Black creators like you guys who showed us what there is to do, how to get there, how to travel there, what to look for, that kind of help us avoid all of those pitfalls. And as a single woman who loves to travel, though, that's key, because when you go to YouTube and you search travel, you search these exotic locations, most of the influencers are going to be, not of color. So, and they're not going to focus on the people of color. If they do, they just branch over their food. That's usually all they branch over, the food and the art, maybe. But you guys really go really in depth, and that's what we need more of. So you've got to go on YouTube. You've got to follow these Black creators, and you've got to start asking them questions and meet an Adrian and a Jermaine and have candid conversations about the places you want to go that they might have on their channel.
Definitely.
On my Instagram, I talk to people all the time, and they have questions, and it's cool. Like, for me, the other point I want to make, and sorry, Adrian, for cutting you off.
No,
the other point I wanted to make real quick is that what I hear in my own family is, I don't got the money to do that. I can't do that. I can't do it right now. I got to save up for that. And so when I travel, I say, listen, on my channel, I say, this is how much I pay for this, and that. In total for the whole trip, this is what it is. You can do it if you really wanted to.
If you can go to Vegas 3 times a year, you can go international. That's all I got to say.
Or wait in line for some Jordan 10s.
Facts.
Miami is wore out. Take a trip down south. You can
is that what happened to Miami? Why did Miami become where all Black people go for an exotic vacation?
Because typically we didn't travel. Remember, we just talked about this. We didn't have travel. Right. So we kind of go in phases.
Right. Quickly, Jermaine, let's get into your other endeavor. Something that I'm really excited about is these cigars. What made you come out with your own cigar line, brother?
Man, I've been smoking cigars since 2008. I've seen the industry, just like gas prices, go high and low on prices. And I got lucky and found some guys that believed in me and trusted me and gave me some deals on some cigars, so that now I can bring it to you guys for under what everybody else is paying at a good price, high quality cigars. The name of the company or the business is Vera Habanos, VERA Habanos, and that name is from my aunt. My aunt, I never met her. She passed away 2 years before I was born on my birthday. So wow. I never met her. And I felt like, to honor her and my cousins that she left behind, I said, let's do this project and put Vera Habanos. So her face is on every cigar that I have, and her face is on the webpage. Black owned, Black blended. What I have to understand, what you need to understand about that is this. You have workers that go out into the field, pick the tobaccos, hang the tobacco to dry, stack and all that stuff with tobaccos, and roll the tobaccos. What Black blended means is there are samples sent to me. I test those samples. If I don't like them, I don't use them. Or I'll say, let's use that with that to make one. That's a blend. That's how you blend it. My hands is on that. So it comes to you, Black blended, Black owned. Because there's all these other cigar makers in the world, they're blending their cigars and they're rolling them out. They're rolling them out to these stores and stuff like that. They'll get some samples and they'll they'll call some shots, but it's not very many people, Black Americans they got their hands, or Black people around the world that got their hands in the cigar business. And I'm fortunate, thank God, to have, my hands in it, and I'm bringing it to you guys at an economical rate for you guys, and the quality is the quality. I went to Tampa. I was in Tampa a week ago, so I went to a place called Cigar Internationals. I bought two cigars from Drew Estates, and then I bought one from Arturo Fuente, Dominican, just to smoke and compare with mine.
You spent about $70.
I was gonna say you spent about $70 in Tampa.
Yeah, I put those down and I started smoking mine because the quality is just that good.
Wow.
And it's good. It's good. I just say try it for yourself. We got the deal going on right now. We got the Christmas deal going on right now. So we got good price. Say that again.
You got a Cyber Monday deal. It is Cyber Monday.
I think we're gonna do it. We're gonna keep it Cyber Monday until Christmas hit. It's gonna be every Monday until Christmas hit. Okay. So we're gonna keep it at this price, just to because I know people are buying gifts and doing all this. Some people buying rings and buying their passport. So you need a little bit extra change. So if you smoke, we're gonna make sure you can have some good quality smoke in your humidor or your time away from work or whatever you want to do to smoke. We're gonna make sure it's economical for you.
Good. How can someone purchase these cigars?
I have a website. The website we're in process. The only part of the website that I haven't figured out is the back end to take credit card payments. So right now we're doing Zelle, Cash App, or Google Pay, PayPal as well. Call, order. Within 24 hours of your order with me, you'll get tracking number and your stuff is in the air. So
is your Instagram, people DM you, or how do they?
Yeah, you can hit me on the Instagram. You can hit up the Instagram, which is vera.habano / Instagram or whatever that is. But if you search VERA Habanos HABANO, it should come up. You see my aunt's face on the pictures, and that's the Instagram. You can message me on any medium and just say any medium, email, my YouTube page, anywhere you want to message me. If you want to get in touch with me for the cigars or you want to make an order, just, we also are doing wholesalers. So if anybody want to come in and start their own label with me, we can do that. Obviously, that means that the quantity has to be a little bit higher to get that wholesale rate, but we're doing that. My cousin down in North Carolina, she has a catering company called True Grit. We got labels for her cigar, which is True Grit Cigars, and she's doing her thing down there in North Carolina as well. I got people in Macon, Georgia right now with their own labels too. So, we're wholesaling them. And if, anybody has something they want to add to the blend for their particular blend, we can do that. If you're in Medellin, Sweet Georgia Cafe, all the cigars, we got the Dominicans and the Nicaraguans down there in Sweet Georgia Cafe. Ooh. So stop by and get yours if you need them.
I like the Nicaraguan cigars. Those are my favorite.
We got them in they're on Finley Street right now.
You're lying. You're kidding. Seriously? Okay, I'm gonna DM
my brother has a whole bunch of them.
I'm gonna DM you because my birthday's this week. So, and I'm going to Cigar Bar on Saturday. So I need some.
All right, we'll send you. We'll get you set up.
Good.
Would you like Robustos or Toros?
Toros.
Okay, we got you.
Okay, I got the link in there. I hope my order is coming too, because we already talked about that, and I can vouch for him. I had 4 last time off. I think I had the Toros, and it was nice. You could definitely taste the quality in them. You definitely could. But I like to keep it to an hour. Jermaine, my bro, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Definitely.
I appreciate you too, brother.
Yes. And Tiffany, I'll holler at you on the back channel.
Yes, sir. Jermaine, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, Tiff, hit me up so I can link you with my brother. I know y'all know each other.
Yeah.
We talked offline. Y'all don't know that, but my brother's in Cincinnati and she's in the Natty too.
Yep, I'll do that.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, take care. And I'm gone. That's the end, baby.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.